for March 20th. We got Paddy the Baddy Pimblett against Rodrigo Vargas. Kind of interested in this fight just because Paddy's like such a new name coming into the thing, but he's got a big sort of following behind him already, you know.
He's got a huge following, doesn't he? Like, I remember I was kind of following Paddy like back in the early like Cage Warrior days, like when Connor left and he took the Cage Warriors belt, because I like to keep an ear to the ground with that like English UK scene. Like I follow it fairly closely, like especially the featherweight division, like my division. Like I know sort of who's up at the top in that division and that sort of stuff. So yeah, I remember saying like, oh, Paddy's the new 145 champ, and then I think he lost that belt and went up and got the 155 belt, and then he's gone on to the UFC from there. Oh, I just love him. He's authentic. Like anyone who's real authentic and big, you just love it. Like he hasn't changed one iota since he started fighting in Cage Warriors. He's still the same Scouse kid. Loves being a Scouser. Loves fighting. You know,
eating. That's what he likes doing, man. Have you seen how big he gets?
He blows up. Hey, fucking over 200 pounds or something. He was.
Just crazy, man. Like you see him at the fight, he looks all slim and shit and skinny, and like his face is all skinny. And then 2 weeks after, he looks like a fat cunt. He's got fat face on him. Crazy, man.
Oh well, he said he's. I saw in an interview that he said he's going to try not to blow out after this one, and I've heard that a few times. I've even heard it from myself. Try not to, but I don't get anywhere near that big. I only put on a couple of kilos after a fight.
That's it. So Paddy, man, have you seen what his opponent is? Have you had a look at his opponent?
I haven't.
So he's fighting a guy called Rodrigo Vargas. Vargas looks. Actually, I heard that he's kind of. I don't know if it's true. You hear the rumors that he's kind of selected his opponent. Like apparently, he was given a few opportunities. Cowboy was one of them. But he's chosen this guy apparently, which I don't know if it's true.
Chael Sonnen said that. Was it Cowboy was scared of that fight, or did Chael say that Paddy was scared of the fight?
I don't know what Chael said, but I think the idea is probably that Paddy and his team are trying to, like, you know, not Paddy's record, but slowly bring him up. I think if it is that way, then it makes sense, you know, like the same as like Sean O'Malley. People bag it out, but they're doing the right thing, you know, as they're building their fighter up, not throwing them straight into the deep end and that. They're just like slowly building them up, and they're giving them fighters that they feel like they have a good competitive edge, that they can try and get their name, build themselves, get more fights, you know, and then build up to a big fight. And it's not like they're not scared. They're scared. They just want to kind of work up the right way, kind of that old boxing mentality in a way. Yeah,
I think you have to look at it from the point of view as like, your cannon fodder for the UFC, yeah, like where we represent, you know, we're an asset to the company. So if you've got an asset like Paddy and Sean, who are potential to be big and make you a lot of money, you're kind of going to give them a different path to someone who is just one of the crowd, like someone who doesn't really differentiate themselves from the crowd very much. Like for example, an American wrestler with decent boxing who usually punches into his takedowns and then gets on top. And he's pretty quiet on the mic, doesn't say much. Like those guys will just get fed whoever the UFC wants. Whereas if you can represent to the UFC a chance for them to make a lot of money off you and be exciting and draw more viewers, they're of course going to give you a little bit easier road to get you to those higher profile fights. In saying that, there's no such thing as an easy fight in the UFC. Everyone who gets there is in the top 1% of everyone who fights, probably even less, like maybe 1% of 1%. You know, I've not done the numbers on it, but definitely those guys, they get given a different road because they represent a different, you know, value to the UFC.
Yeah, Charles mentioned that it was Paddy's team who didn't like it. I think that's the story I heard as well. But like I said, like you just said, the UFC, like anyone in there is good. It doesn't matter who they are. So it's easy for a couch critic to go, oh, look, he took the easy fight and that. But
yeah, and it's like,
look at the guys that O'Malley's beaten as an example. He's been beating some decent guys with decent records, but they're not the top names that you know. But he's doing well and he's knocking people out, and people kind of forget that, oh, he's taking the easy fight. You get in there and have a go and see how easy it is with those guys. You know?
And you go, you look at it and you go, pretty much everyone in the UFC, there's obviously a few exceptions here and there, but everyone in the UFC is the top of wherever they've come from. If they were in New York, they were probably the best guy in New York. If they're in Australia, best guy in Australia. One of the top few. If they're from fucking Brazil, they're one of the best guys in Brazil. So the idea that, easy fights or whatever, it's like, come on, give me a rest. And it's like, there's different guys like Kamzat. Like Kamzat comes in and has, he had 4 fights, 4 wins. So dominant that you nearly have to put him up. But like Paddy, he's had 1 fight in the UFC and he got rocked in that fight and ended up coming back and winning. It was impressive as fuck. But he's had 1 fight and he got rocked in it. What do you want to do? What, do you want him to go fight a fucking top 15 guy straight away? Like, give it a rest.
That's it, man. And even that, I keep jumping on to Sean O'Malley just for the similarities, but that last fight, I actually picked against him against that Rowley and Piver. I thought that guy just had so much heart that he'd be able to take him out, but he showed he's got a championship potential, man. Like he took that guy out and it wasn't too difficult for him to take him out. He's a tough Brazilian fighter,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I like Sean O'Malley. Like I said, I like any of those guys who are authentic and bring more eyes to the sport and that sort of stuff. It's awesome.
And Paddy, what is it about him, man? It's just his personality or something, right?
It's just X factor, isn't it? X factor. Like Sean's got it.
Everyone says he's like the new Conor McGregor, and he's not really even close to him the way he talks or anything. He comes from a similar background.
Completely different, but star power. It's the same thing. It's star power. Like you go in, say what's on your mind. Don't put a collar on yourself in terms of saying what you think, and then just fucking see what happens. Like that's all you can do.
Yeah, man, it's pretty good. I mean, I'm excited to see him fight again. So he's looking pretty good. What's his record? He's at 17 wins and 3 losses versus this Rodrigo Vargas who's had 13 and 4. So I mean, he's got a good record. This Vargas guy, you watch him, he looks like kind of mature sort of fighter. He looks relaxed. He's got a pretty good all-round skill set. He looks like the type of guy that Paddy would have, like his team would have been going, I think we can take this guy because he's kind of got a bit of a slow output, but he's all-rounder. He looks like he can do everything. He's got some good takedowns. He's got some leg kicks, he's got pretty good punches and that, but he kind of relaxes and maintains a pretty slow pace through his fights. I had a look at a few of his fights.
This Vargas.
Yeah, this Rodrigo Vargas, he doesn't seem like a superstar, really. He looks like he's good at everything, but not like a superstar. Yep. And I guess that's what Paddy wants. He wants to get in there with someone like that. I think Paddy will have that, just like talking about you and your next opponent. He's got like an explosiveness edge for sure, speed edge, maybe a BJJ edge too, from what I could see. Like I think he's a little bit more accomplished on the ground. Wrestling, I'm not really so sure, but the ground side, I think Paddy's probably a little bit more accomplished. It should be a kind of interesting fight.
Yeah, for sure. I'll be watching it. Definitely.
Yeah. And on that show as well, there's another one we can